What a surprise from Apple. They went ahead and updated the MacBook Pro lineup and they're making their usual claims of better performance. And I don't want to buy into their hype because, let's just face it, the last couple updates haven't really been that stellar. Now they have gone ahead and given us better spec bumps in the graphics department and with faster storage. But if we use this 2012 as a base, all the updates have basically been simple architectural changes. But now Apple finally goes and gives us exactly what we wanted. They're giving us a MacBook Pro with DDR4 memory, higher core count CPUs, and a larger battery to accommodate for additional power that those two pieces of equipment will need. And this got me thinking, should I sell this 2012 MacBook Pro and move up in computer? Check out this video and I'll give you the answer at the end.
Let's look at the specs of this computer and its functionality before answering that question. Looking at the outside of the case, we see that it's a design from long ago in the computer world. This design dates all the way back to 2008 with the unibody MacBook and MacBook Pros. Apple made this shell from a single piece of aluminum. It's an elegant design that's tough, and my computer has scars to back up this claim. Even though it was dropped several years ago, by accident of course, it still holds up strong and hasn't fallen apart. Some of the ports on this computer are of nostalgic states. Let's look at the right side first. It has a slot for the long-forgotten DVD SuperDrive, and a Kingston lock to prevent thievery. Next, looking at the left side of the computer, we have this button that when pressed will indicate how full the battery is. There's audio input and output ports. There's an SD card slot. There's two USB 3 ports. There's the FireWire port, which I've used maybe a handful of times. Then as we travel up, we see the Gigabit Ethernet port right next to the older and slightly larger MagSafe power adapter. But wait, let's reverse back here a bit. What's that Thunderbolt image all about? It's one of the reasons I have kept this computer so long. That is the Thunderbolt port, which allows connecting up to 6 external high-speed devices. This allows this computer to be useful for modern creative workflows. With a Thunderbolt spec external drive, I can edit on the fly and don't have to be worried about being tied down to a single location for video editing. Being that the computer is from 2012, it sports an Ivy Bridge-based i7-3720 quad-core processor. It's clocked at 2.6 GHz with the ability to overclock itself to 3.6 GHz. Using Intel Power Gadget, I have never seen it go beyond 3.3 GHz under load, but of course mileage varies from chip to chip. Using that same app, we can see that unless it's under load, it underclocks itself to about 1.2 to 2.1 GHz. So it's definitely still a power efficient chip. How efficient? Under normal use without power plugged in, I get about 6 hours of battery life. By normal use, I do mean internet browsing, creating documents, and listening to music. Under load with programs like Final Cut and GarageBand, I still get about 2.5 to 3 hours of use before I get that warning that I need to plug it into power. This is all on the original 7-year-old battery, by the way. The graphics cards, yes it has two, are the Intel HD 4000 and the NVIDIA GT 650M. The Intel graphics chip is good for watching HD quality movies, but for when we need that extra horsepower, the computer will automatically switch to the GT 650. And the GT 650 is good for editing videos and creating graphics with this computer. As a base model, this computer would have come with a 1400 by 900 resolution display. Thankfully, the monitor on this example is the upgraded 1680 by 1050 display. Neither of the graphics chips have had any issues working at these resolutions, and I did try to use a Thunderbolt monitor with this MacBook, but it ran really hot. So I have been using a cinema display for when editing at home. Next bit of internal specs we'll look at are the potential upgradable areas. It came with 8 GB of DDR3 memory, a slow 750 spindle-based hard drive, and that awesome DVD SuperDrive. But we could upgrade the RAM to 16 GB of DDR3. The slow spinning hard drive could be swapped for a modern and fast SSD. The DVD drive could be taken out, and we could put a hard drive or SSD in its place. Theoretically, with modern drive capacities, we could have 2 4 terabyte drives for a total of 8 terabytes of storage. 8 terabytes. And the last bit of specs worth speaking about is the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi cards. The Bluetooth chip is of the 4.0 standard, so it's still modern, but the Wi-Fi chip is the older end specification, and unfortunately can't be upgraded to a more modern AC Wi-Fi spec. Oh well, looks like I won't be sending files from this computer at blazing speeds via the Wi-Fi in my apartment. How about software? With macOS Mojave coming out this fall, I wondered if Apple would continue to support this computer, and thankfully this computer will get at least one more year of security and app updates. This is important because one of the best ways to kill hardware is with lack of software, and this story will help illustrate this. When I updated to macOS Sierra 2 years ago, I was unable to use an old printer via Wi-Fi with this computer. I had been connecting to the printer for a few years already, and I couldn't figure out the problem. This was until the printer manufacturer put out a driver update a few months later, so I was able to continue using the printer for a little while longer.
So let's now answer the question, should someone go out and purchase the new MacBook Pro? The answer is yes, if you need the performance. With modern day Thunderbolt expansion storage, you can go ahead and use those items with the new MacBook Pro via an adapter, and you could basically keep your desktop setup about the same. And this MacBook Pro, should I go out and sell it and apply the money that I earned toward the new MacBook? Of course. But I'm not going to do that right now, because like with this computer, I disciplined myself for a year saving cash until I had enough on hand to go out there and make the purchase. And I'd like to continue that habit because I feel that it will empower myself and my team to go out there and work harder for those shiny new pieces of tech that we want. I trust you learned something today and enjoyed watching this video.